Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Apex. In today's episode we're back talking about Formula E. We're round 8 in Monaco.
Halfway through the season already.
Halfway through the season. Season 10 only kicked off I feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah, literally.
And now we're going into halfway through the season. So a lot to talk about. Obviously I was there at the race.
Yeah.
So obviously I can kind of say a lot more because I was witnessing it. But I will just put, before we actually go into it, I saw a stat that says, you can't overtake in Monaco, right? You can't overtake in Monaco. Everyone says that.
Yeah. 197 overtakes. It's insane. Honestly, Monaco and Formula E is the race to watch if you're going to watch one in Monaco, because it is just, they can overtake.
Yeah.
And it's bringing it back to kind of when small cars were racing around Monaco, it was so much better.
Yeah.
The FE cars are so small and so nimble that it's so exhilarating to kind of watch them just kind of nipping it down the inside. They can just do it. And it's so much better.
It makes for good racing. Everyone says, oh yeah, but it's just a budget series or something. I think someone commented on my TikTok saying, with the video of the grandstand being like, oh yeah, it's great, but it's a budget series. And I'm like, well,
sure,
okay.
Sure.
It makes for better racing, I think. Obviously with the 197 overtakes, but yeah, so there's a lot to talk about, so we'll get into it. We'll talk about Envision first. A weekend to forget for them.
Yes, very much so. I mean, quali was all right. They had pace, but the race just fell apart.
Yeah. So they had pace. I think they got through to the duels and even the semi-finals, maybe with Buemi.
Yes.
Can't really remember, but like you said, within the race, Buemi got really unlucky though.
Yes.
Going around the hairpin.
Someone sent it out the inside, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was an ERT. Sent it out the inside, then obviously Buemi got pushed into the wall, and he couldn't really do anything much there. So he got pushed back to the back of the grid. And obviously, he couldn't really regain it from there, but yeah, not really much to say with Envision. I mean, it's kind of a stark difference from what we saw last year with Envision.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in last year they were able, even if they were at the back. I mean, Cassidy qualified P10 in Monaco last year, and he was able to come through the field, and we're just not seeing that kind of race pace again with Envision this year, and that's their main hindrance.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Cassidy, like you said, obviously now he's gone to Jaguar. We'll go on to talk about Jaguar, but you can just tell, clearly, I don't know, they're really struggling with getting to grips with the fact that, they've got new drivers in the car. Absolutely. Not new drivers, but new drivers in terms of not having Cassidy and losing their top driver, obviously, who won last year. But yeah, we'll go on to a higher note.
Very much a higher note.
Literally going from down here to up there, which is a shame because it's obviously the same powertrain, isn't it? But we'll talk about Jaguar, obviously.
Unreal weekend.
I'm shook. Yeah. A 1-2 for the team, like you said, after they've just said that they're going to go into Gen 4.
Yes, yeah. So they've just announced that obviously they're going to renew their contract in Formula. I think it's a contract in Formula E. And what a way to kind of make the board happy by getting a 1-2. I mean, let's be real, they should have been front row lockout. Yeah. They both made mistakes in their quality laps. I think Cassidy went wide in the final corner, and then Mitch, I think he cut the chicane. Yeah. But they should have been in the front row.
They were second row, but
their race pace was unbelievable.
Exactly.
And they managed to just carve through. Obviously, Pascal got a little bit disadvantaged by the safety car, but still, they were able to just clean up.
Exactly, and Cassidy was actually able to kind of keep the DSs at bay, if that makes sense, and then Mitch went obviously on to win. And I saw actually a stat of Mitch as well. He's had 4 podiums in a row in Monaco from season 7 onwards to season 8.
He's just been so lucky. It's good to find it, because I also saw a stat that he's led this race 3 times in the past. Yeah. So finally he's kind of got that win. Yeah. But as you were saying, with the strategy with Jag, I mean, when Evans got in front and Cassidy was in second, you could visibly see Cassidy holding up the pack so that Mitch could take his attack mode, because they both had both attack modes to take. Yeah. So their strategy was just beautiful. I mean, fair play to Jag, because they deserved the win. Absolutely.
Exactly, and I was a bit worried because obviously Cassidy is in kind of title contention with the championship. Obviously they've taken him from Envision where he was actually in title contention as well. So I thought maybe they would put him first and obviously do team orders and kind of put him in front. But no, like you said, they kept him at bay and then obviously let Mitch win, which was...
It's great teamwork.
It was insane teamwork, and it really showed to make a difference. Like with the DS of Van Dorn and Verline in front, obviously they just couldn't handle the fact that you've got 2 teammates working together, and obviously it worked in their favour. So an incredible weekend for Jaguar going into Berlin. So let's keep it up, team.
Bad for me with Pascal.
Anyways, Andretti, terrible.
I mean, it was a classic. Jake Dennis, bad quality, and then it just didn't come to win the race. No. He was making competition. I think he got up to P9, and I kind of thought, oh, here we go again. He's going to make it through the field and then get on the podium. But he obviously had contact,
Yeah.
and then that was just kind of his reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually really unlucky for the Andrettis, the whole race, to be honest. I think both of them got front wing damage, which is not unlikely in Monaco, obviously, because there's a lot of contact going on. But I was saying earlier, you know, obviously you get contact with the front wing, and then it comes loose, and then, you know, it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, do you come in and lose time and change the front wing, or do you stay out and then risk a puncture? Yeah. And normally it's like 99% sure that you're going to get a puncture, because with those wings you can't, like, whereas F1 they kind of just fall off.
Yeah, these just get stuck on the wheels and then it's
So I mean, it was just unlucky for them, and obviously with the safety cars, they kind of got back to the pack, but obviously couldn't make it. No, they caught up with the pack, but they couldn't obviously go up through the grid. So yeah, not really much to say about them anyway, which is a shame, because obviously Jake Dennis, world champion, we're not seeing that from him this year.
And this was the first kind of race where he lacked that consistency. He kind of had that dip, which he had a lot of last year, to be fair, and he still was able to win the championship. However, I feel like with Dennis as well, he's a very momentum driver. As soon as he gets in the rhythm, he does it, and when he has a race like this, it could fall apart. It
could, absolutely, I agree. Right, we'll move on to DS. Obviously, I've already said a little bit about them before. Oh my gosh.
Such a good weekend. I mean, last podcast we were saying kind of a P8 would be good for them. And they come in and get into the final of the duels. Obviously, Van Dorn made the error on the final sector. But they have really strong race pace.
Yeah, they did. They were up there, certainly. And obviously, like Van Dorn was kind of like on the front row of the grid anyway. So it was a shame. I think they battled each other in quali because of the way they did it. They kind of did it, which meant that one of them was all like behind the Jaguars and the other one was in front.
Yes. I think went out in the quarters, right?
Yes, just the way that quali works is weird. But they both had such strong pace, and obviously what they ended up P4 and
P3, P4.
Oh yeah, P3, P4.
And to be fair, because obviously I was watching the stream, you were there in person. Jeff was getting so angry over the radio. He was kind of saying, "Look, let me pass. I'll be able to attack the Jags." And Van Dorn just wasn't having it, and he was just like. He was keeping him behind. I mean, fair enough. Great drive to keep Jev behind, because if you don't want to drive behind you, Jev, the experienced driver that he is, you don't want him behind you. But he managed to keep on the podium, and fair play to him.
Exactly. But it was they had a livery from Monaco as well. It was gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I've got a video I forgot to show you actually, because I was showing all the footage of the weekend earlier. DS put their livery
on a boat. Yes.
And I saw it going out of the harbour. It was so cool.
Honestly, the amount of times they showed that boat on the cover.
Really?
Oh my god, it was every lap basically. Every time they showed a DS, they showed the boat. And it was like great. And then obviously I was watching the Spanish stream, so I was like, bod. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, great weekend for them. Hopefully it kind of continues on into Berlin.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But hopefully not too much, because obviously we want Jaguar to win.
No, I want Pascal to win. Home race takes the lead of the championship.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was funny though when I was, because obviously I support Pascal in the championship fight, and I celebrated when Cassidy went out, and you were like, "Why are you celebrating?" I'm like, "Because it's great for Pascal."
Yeah, and I was like, "Why are we saying yes?"
But
literally. So we'll go on to Abs Creek. Oh my god, Abs Cupra. I couldn't say that, could I? I mean, obviously not the best weekend for Muller. No. He went out, DNF'd due to contact. I mean, it's just unlucky. I mean,
it's classic Monaco.
It is classic Monaco. Obviously, we say it's incredible racing, but obviously it does lead to contact, and almost always into the first corner. You always hear a crunch, and you always know something's gone wrong, especially with Formula E.
And the Formula E crunches are so loud as well. You can hear them from miles away, and it's like, here we go.
Funny you should say that, because I was sat in a grandstand that kind of like backed onto the start finish. So as someone went along the start finish, I think it was Jake Dennis when he had his front wing underneath.
Yes.
You could just hear the.
Oh, it's awful.
I mean, like, oh no.
Here we go
again. 5 seconds later on the stream, it's like Jake Dennis has got a puncture, and I'm like, well, we heard that.
Yeah. Heard it from a mile away.
Literally, yeah. Not a great weekend for Cupra. Just not it. We'll move on to ERT. Tictum.
Look, he had alright pace in the race. Yeah. He was running in the points a little bit, I think in the P9, P10 area. Yeah. And then I think he got damaged, possibly. Yes, so. And then he just dropped from there.
And I will say, obviously, we'll go on to talk about Taylor Barnard. But he was catching Tictum at points.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that looks.
It doesn't look. Taylor has had experience around Monaco recently, but obviously obviously so was Ticton.
Yeah.
And Ticton did great in Monaco, and the fact that a rookie can come in with the hell that is power saving in Monaco. Maybe that's why he kind of dropped off the pack a little bit at the end, because he was having to overpower save.
Yeah.
But at the start he was really keeping with him. And I mean, we will go on to take one on, because what a weekend. But yeah, it doesn't look good for Ticton.
It doesn't, and obviously Seth the camera, not having the best weekend either. I mean, I don't know where he ended up. I think, did he DNF?
Probably DNF, yeah.
No, P18.
Yeah.
But just not great for Yati. We'll move on to Maserati.
Oh,
yeah.
Jehan. I mean, he had great pace in quali, he really did. He could have got through to the duel, just missed out. Yeah. But he was P10 on the starting grid. Was running in the points for so long, and then it just fell apart.
It did. And we said, I think in the last podcast, obviously, we had a bit of faith in him because he's driven around there before.
Absolutely.
He's had that experience before.
He's had podiums around there in F2. Yeah. And it's just, it's a shame.
It's a shame. Yeah. It really is. But hopefully, I mean, we'll see something in Berlin.
Oh, I hope so. Maybe I'm his lucky charm.
Maybe this is it. But then I'm going too, and I'm Jaguar's lucky charm. So
yeah, no, but lucky charm for Jehan means he's P8. Lucky charm for Jag means they're 1-2. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So obviously, again, not a lot to say from Maserati, which is a shame because obviously Gunther has been like...
Yeah, and do you know what? He had such good pace in quali as well. He always does, and he's always running around the P6 area, and then he just has this races where it falls apart.
Yeah, and usually it's just nowhere, and you've not a lot to talk about. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to Mahindra. Wow, obviously, we have to talk about Mortara first. He went into the wall just before the swimming pool section. I was actually sat right there, and it was a big shunt. Yeah. It was a big shunt, and
I mean, that's why they put the tape pro there, because the drivers are flat out into that swimming pool section, and if they have a little bit of understeer, they are going into that wall. We saw why they have it with Mortara, because to be fair, he was able to get out of the car really easily. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't as big a shunt in the car, but my God, from the outside it looked scary.
Absolutely, and he was battling an ERT, I think, at the time. But I will talk, obviously, I talk a lot about race control. Obviously, I'm a massive, huge race control antic fan. But oh my gosh, did they do a good job?
They did, absolutely.
Gosh. So obviously the car was lodged into the Tech Pro barrier. They're very heavy cars. It took about 8 to 10 marshals to get it out. Wow. It was insane, and they did such a good job. And I would say, with the safety car as well, they obviously put the safety car out, and within like the lap where they basically got to where the accident was, it was literally probably not even a corner where the safety car had backed the whole pack up, and then they literally just got it out just in time for them to go past. Yeah. It was a masterclass, right? Because I know that Scott will be telling the safety car to do different speeds.
Yeah, and also on different sides of the grid, so he was telling them to go to the right hand side, because obviously there was lots of debris as well, so just Scott Elkins is just great.
Yeah, absolutely, and the way that race control kind of operates as well in Formula E is really good. Like he obviously does a lot of kind of like chat with the team, with the drivers anyway, and telling them where things are, so you don't actually have to red flag. Like my dad was like, red flag, and I was like, no, Scott will be able to tell them actually go onto the left side of the track to avoid it, but actually he didn't. Like I said, the communication with the safety car is so good that, I mean, we have it at club racing, and you tell them to do 60 miles an hour or 50. If you need them more time, you tell them to do 40 to really back the pack up and obviously stop them from getting into an accident. And literally the way they did it was absolutely perfect, because they literally got around the corner, the car was out of the way, safety car in, and go.
I mean, it was only about 3 laps.
Oh my gosh, I think it was 2, because we had 2 added laps afterwards. Yeah. Oh my gosh, masterclass. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that now. I'm shocked. That is really hard to do.
And we know we were there last year. The Monaco marshals are spectacular. They are so quick doing what they're doing. They're very, because obviously they have, I think, 3 weekends, 3 or 4 weekends.
They've got this one, the
historic, and then the F1. Yeah. So they get a lot of practice, and the amount of cranes around the circuit as well. They just are on it straight away.
Incredible. So Mahindra unlucky. But Nick de Vries though, I don't know.
I think he got damaged, didn't he? Oh no, P12. But I do think again that was because people DNF'd in front of him.
We say this a lot, right? We say that, P12 amazing for him, but obviously we had about 3 DNFs.
Dennis is behind, Buemi's behind, Hughes is behind, Friends is behind. So again, not really much to say. No. So we'll go on to Neon McLaren. What Taylor Barnard take about? He came in with 0 practice sessions after obviously Sandberg. I think he broke his bone. Broke his wrist. So hopefully he gets better soon. Yeah. But came in straight into qualifying. I think he out-qualified one person on the grid, which I think it was Sese Camera.
I think so.
Yeah, that doesn't look good on him.
No.
But did an amazing job, and then just kept it so clean.
Yeah.
So clean.
Absolutely, and cause we were walking down the pits just before quali, and it hadn't been announced yet that Sam had broken his wrist, right, and that Taylor was going to be racing. And my dad walked past Taylor because they'd just come back from race control because they had to get like permission to race, obviously. And he literally, my dad turns to me and he goes, "Is that Taylor Barnard?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "He looks like he literally like wants to like cry.
Yeah.
Like, he literally looks like he wanted to be eaten up by the ground." And I was like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?" And obviously 5 minutes later, it's announced that he's racing.
So apparently, according to Ian James told him, and apparently he just started panicking.
Yeah.
Apparently he just started freaking out, and then once he got the helmet on, he was completely fine.
Yeah.
But you can't blame him. I mean, he is the youngest Formula E driver ever to start a race, and going into Monaco of all races. You can't blame the guy, but he did a spectacular job.
Yeah, take a bow.
Yeah,
like he was on the pace. There was never a point where he wasn't on the pace.
No.
You know, he ended the race. He avoided all contacts and the whole Monaco shabam. He avoided it all. So fair play.
And obviously Hughes was ahead of him, but Hughes had damage. I think did Barnard finish? Oh no. So Hughes did make it. Oh no, Barnard finished ahead of Hughes because of damage. So you literally cannot ask more.
Cannot ask more of him. No, absolutely. I think will he be racing in Berlin?
Yes, he will be racing in Berlin.
Yeah.
I think he'll be racing for the next couple of weekends.
Yeah.
Because it will probably take. Obviously, we've seen with David Malukas. I don't know whether you've seen his drama. Yeah. So he had a kind of similar break, and he's been out for a couple of months. But obviously, we'll talk about that in the IndyCar special at the end of the season. But I mean, that's kind of showing how bad a wrist accident, injuries you can be. So. Hopefully Sam does make a speedy recovery, but he definitely will be out for Berlin.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll talk about Nissan. Roland, it was a shame. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Roland and Sasha both were up there, right? We got P6 and
great
P8.
drives,
yeah.
but quality just let them down.
Quality let them down, and also, like, I just don't think P6 is where Roland wanted to be.
Absolutely.
Like, he's been performing insanely the last few races.
Best driver of the season so far.
Absolutely, and obviously he's just, It is. I like we say. It's a good weekend for them, but obviously I don't think it's kind of.
They would have wanted more.
They would have wanted more, especially with Ollie Roland. I don't know if you saw the video that Formula E did where they went around asking who's going to win the championship.
Oh, I didn't know. No.
So Hayley was in it.
No, I did see that. Yes, she did.
And they were like, oh, I don't know. And a lot of people said Ollie Roland. And I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just his consistency is on another level, and that's what you need in this championship.
Yeah, but this isn't consistent.
No, but to be fair, if we go back a year, Nissan would have bitten your arm off for a result like this. So that's kind of showing where their kind of threshold is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen with Dennis last year, he had DNS. I mean, if Ollie's troughs are P6,
who knows? Who knows? Absolutely. Right.
And finally, on to Porsche.
Yeah.
It was just a shame for Pascal. I mean, he got disadvantaged by the safety car. Obviously, he took a tap mode very early. Yeah. I mean, I was surprised. And then obviously the safety car came out, so he couldn't use it. And I mean, it was a wasted pole, but P5, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's damage limitation.
Yeah.
He'll take it into Berlin. But yeah, it wasn't great.
Not great for them, obviously. Yeah, the Jaguar powertrain really just kind of like showed them up, didn't it?
Yeah, fully did. And yeah, I mean. Yeah, you can't say much.
Not much to say. But yeah, let's take a break and we'll come back to talk about the Gen 3 Evo. Right, okay, so yeah, like I said, we'll talk about the Gen 3 Evo. So if you don't know kind of about it anyway, it's kind of like the evolution of Gen 3 at the moment, right? It's the one before Gen 4, so it's the next generation of car. So it was revealed in Monaco.
It looks unbelievable.
It looks unbelievable. There's a lot to talk about. We're literally just going to go through a few of the facts, what they put out in the press release. But yeah, really exciting going into next season.
Very exciting. I mean, obviously we've seen the kind of radical change that the car is now going to be all-wheel drive, which obviously is insanely kind of changing its acceleration, firstly. But secondly, it's going to change the way that it's driven by all the drivers. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how they adapt to it.
Absolutely, and obviously the all-wheel drive was kind of needed. Obviously it's capable of doing 0 to 60 in 1.82 seconds. Sorry, what is that?
Unbelievable in a race car. I mean, obviously, we see road cars doing that quite often now with electric cars. But road cars don't go around corners like FE cars do. No. With that amount of downforce, it is insane that they're able to get that acceleration.
Absolutely incredible. And obviously they put out a stat saying it was 30% faster than a current F1 car.
Yes, in acceleration.
We were talking about this. That is
I mean, it's Formula E PR working there, working at their aspects. Obviously, at the first corner, I don't know.
Exactly. Like Like the first start, brilliant.
Absolutely,
like, yes, they are so fast.
But probably after 5 seconds, the F1 can't catch up, and then around the corner, it's gone.
It's gone.
But no, I mean, the starts will be very, very impressive to watch now because they will just be gone.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we're talking about the instant speed of electric cars. Yeah, it's going to be quite something to be able to watch.
Yeah.
Just go boom, like, as soon as you put your foot down.
And I mean, with the PR release, with David Coulthard driving it, I think even he was taken aback by how quick it was because you kind of saw him squirming up Sando Vop because he clearly didn't expect it to be that quick.
Exactly, like it's so much power, and obviously I'm like obsessed with the whole battery technology side of things. But obviously they regen like what? No, I don't want to get that wrong. 600 kilowatts is what they. Yeah, well no, so, whoa. Wait, cut that down, what is it? Wait, kilowatts high speed charge. What's all that high speed charge?
Yeah, right, so wait, it's going to, so talking about the battery.
So talking about the battery, we'll talk about the high-speed charging. I think we talked about this before. There was kind of speculation that it was going to come in like this year, but obviously there's kind of been like a bit of a thing about it.
To say the least.
To say the least. So actually, they are introducing the high-speed charging, which is like the 30-second pit stop.
Which is going to be so exciting. I mean, it's going to bring so much kind of variation to the race. It's going to bring in that strategy that I think FE kind of needs.
Yeah.
So obviously they can't do it with the tyre strategy, so this is how they're kind of combating it. It's going to be really cool to watch.
It is, and obviously, I mean, I think it's just incredible though. They're literally going to be putting 600 kilowatts like charge into the battery. 600 kilowatts. What is that about?
It's
like,
insane.
Hello?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, they have to have all the protective gear because it is just incredible. And obviously talking about that with the regen braking, at the moment I think they regen like 40% of the race distance when they're going along, but this now Gen 3 Evo is going to actually regen 50% of the whole race.
It's unbelievable how much they're getting out of these batteries, and I mean the innovation is just
innovation's incredible.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. It means like they could go out with 50% and get a whole race. Like, I don't know. It's a bit crazy, but yeah. And then obviously the tyres as well. I saw like a little thing about the tyres as well.
I haven't seen this, no.
Yeah, so there's an upgraded Hankook Ion race tyre, which has got basically enhanced grip. It's made from more recycled material, because obviously they have to say that. But yeah, it's got more grip. Obviously, kind of that. I feel like that comes in hand.
Yes,
with the all-wheel drive situation, and obviously the fact that it's like a fast, very fast car.
And I think they'll need that grip, bearing in mind the kind of speeds they're going to go into these corners. So
exactly, and obviously it's an all-weather tyre. They don't have wets and softs and mediums and stuffs in Formula E. So
which I was thinking about this. If you stuck an FE car with the new Gen 3 Evo on slicks, how fast would that acceleration go to 60?
Don't know. That needs to be
done
tested.
just to test it.
Yeah.
Because it'd be close to 1.5, surely.
Surely. I mean, absolutely incredible. But yeah, so that is it for the Gen 3 Evo and for Monaco itself. So we'll get back to you about Berlin next.
Both going.
Both going. Yeah. We'll both be there. There's 2 races. It's double header. I'm so excited.
So excited. I mean, we've got our exams first, but let's ignore that bit.
We've got 50% of our exams first, and then we're going to Berlin for a little.
So we watch the races, then go back and then revise tort and EU law. So
literally.
Fun weekend.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll get back to you about that. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.